Welcome back to Data Center News Asia. We are still here at Digital Garden in Tokyo. It's been a fantastic event so far, first of its kind. And we're delighted to be joined on the show by Morgan Laughlin at PGIM.
Thank you.
How you find the event so far, Morgan?
It's been good. For an inaugural event, it was well attended. I think there's been some good discussions, good panels. Again, a lot of people are really active in the industry have been here, so I think it's a good use of time.
Good stuff. And Morgan, for those who may not be familiar with PGIM and kind of the platform, what you're doing, maybe you could just give us a quick introduction, like where you're looking to deploy capital and the kind of the value adds you bring.
Okay, sure. Well, I start by just introducing myself a little bit. So I'm the global head of our what's effectively become our digital infrastructure business, starting with data centers. The first foray from a fund perspective is a development fund, which we've just finished closing that fund, and that is a global fund, 50% U.S., 30% Asia Pacific, 20% Europe as a guidance. And we will ultimately be led by where we find the best opportunities for our investors. Again, build, fill, sell strategy. So we'll be looking to doing greenfield pretty much across the board and exiting once we've stabilized the assets. We follow a model which we call operator independent. So unlike most of my peers, we're not interested in actually investing in or building our own operator. We're very happy and comfortable and like the model of partnering with established data center data center operators in the markets in which we invest. From our perspective, we think it kind of de-risks the strategy from one perspective because we're only focusing on what we know, which is the real estate side, which is really our pedigree. And we also think that it gives a really attractive pipeline of opportunities because we are able to get transactions coming in from our operators who've got things on balance sheet or have secured a site and just need a capital partner, and what we say a sophisticated capital partner, because they are taking a lot of risk around the capital. From the perspective, we have a significant role in making decisions around the development. And also we leverage off the overall PGIM global infrastructure to bring land sites onto our fund directly, which we then take to operating partners. So between the two, we really feel it's a very effective way in which to build out a pipeline for the fund.
Excellent. Thanks for the intro. And Morgan, data centers, hot topic, digital infrastructure, everyone's looking to deploy capital. But Japan has been historically a market that is very locally dominated by a lot of the big infrastructure investors here, real estate investors as well. Most of the investors here today, though, have been international and global funds. Is the market opening up? Is there access for foreigners to come in?
Well, I think there's always been an important foreign element within this marketplace. You think about Equinix has been in this market for over 20 years. So there's always, and Digital Realty has been for quite a long time as well. So there's always been that foreign operator component within this marketplace, which we're targeting typically, they were targeting overseas customers or other overseas users, but also, again, within the Equinix model, lots of domestic counterparts as well. So they've been around for a long time. I think what we're seeing now, this wave of new international operators coming into the market, new operators forming for the marketplace, is more driven by the scale of the opportunity than it is any kind of real evolution or revolution in the way in which the Japanese market is looking at foreign versus local operators. It's just the fact that we now have this huge growth in hyperscale, potential growth in the AI platforms. And, again, Japan is still one of the largest economies in the world. And so if you're looking around the world going, where do I want to put capital to work? This is a pretty attractive place.
And I told you we were going to go off topic, and I'm just about to again. So you mentioned the fund, 50% US or North America? US, 30% Europe, 20%, sorry, 30% APAC, 20% Europe. In terms of the mature markets in North America, in Europe, how does the Japanese market compare to a Frankfurt or Virginia or any of the other markets in established economies?
Where do I start? I think again, a lot of similarities to start with, obviously, because again, you're looking at similar customer base from the perspective we're focused on hyperscale. So, whether we're in Frankfurt or here, we're still talking to the same 5+ customers. So there's a lot of similarities there. The product that you're building is not that different, although as we've talked about today in some of these panels, Japan is not the easiest place to construct. You're kind of always trying to squeeze something into a suboptimal, or very often into a suboptimal lot size. So there are some peculiarities maybe to it. But I would say that from a capital allocation perspective, we think Japan's super interesting as an investor. Cost of debt, still relatively cheap, relatively plentiful. We think, well, construction costs are high from a global standard perspective. You have very strong general contractors, and so you have certainty of build, you have certainty of timing. Once you've actually gotten a contractor in place, there's an extremely high probability they're going to deliver on time, they're going to deliver quality product. So that kind of de-risks a really important component of the development element, of development process. And then ultimately, this is a market where there's huge pools of capital. We've heard this story from the time we were children about how Japan is a tremendous savers market, and there's all this capital out there which can be employed, and I think will be employed increasingly into the data center space as an investment alternative for people. So when you come up on having completed the development, you're looking to exit, this marketplace is offering and appears to offer increasing liquidity for exits. So again, all those factors really make it a very attractive place from our perspective to invest. The challenge, and this is kind of cuts both ways, is finding a good site with power. A lot of work that goes into getting that, a lot of effort has to go into getting that, but if you've got it, you're in a good pricing position. So
one of the interesting things that was raised on a couple of the panels earlier, and perhaps opportunistic with their timing, some of the ministers were pushing a narrative of political stability in the current global climate, looking at perhaps deglobalization for some product and investment areas, and then building up local infrastructure. How much of an opportunity do you think this, and I guess the need for Japan to get ahead in things like AI presents for the market over the next couple of years?
Yeah, I mean, political stability is obviously rule of law, effectiveness in the capital markets, convertibility of the currency, ability to hedge the currency. All those things are just very macro issues which make Japan attractive. I think the question you're getting at, though, more is around, and again, you referenced AI, whether or not we're going to see a demand growth coming out of that AI side. I know it won't be as big as U.S. because U.S. is always going to be the leader in that space. But will it become a significant factor in driving demand within Japan? I think that's where you're going with that one. I think that question really, I don't know the answer to that one, to be very honest with you, because to me, it comes down to two critical factors. One is the technology on AI. And is this DeepSeek or DeepSeek 2 or some variation on that theme of using distillation as a way in which to reduce the amount of upfront training in order to create a more efficient delivery of that AI product? Will that diminish the need for lots of large AI training sites in different countries, in different regions around the world, or we'll be able to do it all, let's say, in the United States, and we'll never see it transfer out here? I don't know the answer to that one, which is why I can't be really defined in taking a view on whether that demand is going to evolve. The other side, though, that I think I do feel much more confident on is to say that AI is clearly a strategic requirement, a strategic need for governments. They recognize that AI is such a force multiplier in military and espionage, ultimately in industry and the strength of an economy, that I think all the countries will want to ensure that they have the ability to control or to have their own AI capability. They don't want to be beholden to other markets. Even if they're allies like the United States, they don't want to be in a situation where they are beholden to other markets for the ability to evolve AI to the benefit of their country. So I think there'll absolutely be some kind of component of AI growth within Japan. I just don't know the scale of it because of the first unknown that I raised. So the last point I'll make on this is that if you look at Asia Pacific and you assume that there is going to be a need for training significant training within Asia Pacific, the obvious places for that, in my mind, are going to be Japan and Australia, simply because if you look at the geopolitical issues and the limitations that the U.S. government and others are trying to put on the sharing of critical technology with potential adversaries, Japan and Australia stick out as the two sites where people would be comfortable seeing technology move to.
Great. Well, Morgan, thank you very much for joining us. Always very insightful hearing your views on things and hearing how things are going with the PGIM platform. Thank you again to the Digital Garden team for hosting a great event and bringing everyone like Morgan to one centralized venue in Tokyo. Very much needed, as I'm sure you'll agree. So thanks again, Morgan, and thank you everyone for watching.
Thank you for having me.
Cheers.
Cheers.